Welcome to this edition of the Business Spotlight Series. I'm Rick Plaskett, a certified business and leadership coach here in Columbus, Ohio. And today my guest is Julie Chambers. She is the owner and the founder of Chambers Music Studio, which happens to be not one, not two, but three different locations right now. She's got a number of other programs that I'm really excited to share with you today. We're going to talk to her about all of those locations, her her purpose in life, and find out a little bit more about some of the challenges, some of her best practices, and maybe give a little peek into what it's really like to build and operate this business. If this is your first time on the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe. Get notifications of our future interviews and conversations just like we're going to have today. So Julie, welcome and thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, for the audience, give us, you and I have a little bit of advantage. We talked before this, but give the audience a little brief overview of your background, how you got to be where you are today, and a little bit about the business and what makes you so unique.
Sure. I am the founder of Chambers Music Studio. We are saving the world through music education. And before we had 321 studios, all the way back to pre-2014, I was a music education teacher in a public school. I taught for several years there and then started teaching private lessons in my own house. After a few years there, I was expanding and opened my first location in February of 21. And that was a fun time because I actually found the location I wanted in March of 2020. And that when I was reading the lease, it was like 40-page lease. I was panic eating chips, thinking, "Am I gonna do this? Am I really gonna do this?" It was eye-opening to me in just the cost of starting a business outside your home. I never even imagined what you would need to get started in building things out and all of the extra things. I met with an architect. She is an architect in Columbus right now. I know she has way more work than she can handle right now, but Valerie Hallas. And I know her from Zumbini class with our kids. And I just kind of said, "Hey, I'm thinking of looking for a space. Maybe I have to build walls or something. Here, which ones should I pick?" No idea and she just took it to the next level. And that first space is extra level because she even helped me paint the stencil that everyone loves behind the archway. So I'll have to get you a picture of that at some point. Um, so in 2023, we got our second location just outside Bexley, and in 2024, we opened our third one in Worthington Hills. So we have three locations now. We teach music for all ages, starting with the Mommy and Me classes. Um, Parents, it doesn't have to be just mommy or grandparents, can participate in music with their little ones, babies up to about 4 or 5. And those music classes I wrote myself after my bachelor's and my master's in music ed and studied in Europe in music pedagogy. Um, and I have 3 kids, so I tested all these out on my own. But they incorporate foundational music skills as well as language acquisition and parent-child bonding and empathy, which is huge in this day and age. And so those we have a couple classes in our 2 of our 3 locations right now. And we do some of those classes in daycares and preschools as well around the areas. We have a partnership with Dublin Community Preschool and Columbus Montessori. Now, Columbus Montessori is a baby through 6th grade program that we help run for them. We have a couple other partnerships, school partnerships around the area, but the studios, they also teach private lessons, piano, guitar, ukulele, any instrument, flute, violin, anyone you're asking, the answer is most likely yes, unless it's a very obscure historical instrument that they don't make anymore. And we have a lot of great programs there, private and some small group. Sometimes people think private lessons are completely better than group lessons, but if it's done the right way, the small group can actually provide a better education because you can learn from each other. So we found that out in our piano keys program, which we have at two of the three locations right now, looking to add it at our Bexley location next. And that is a small group of students that have some independent practice time and one-on-one time with the teacher in the first half. And the second half, they are tricked into learning through games. The games teach technique, theory, ideation, music writing, music reading, all the music foundational literacy skills. So we're really excited to get that program further off the ground in the next year or so. We even have adults that take lessons, retirees. Sometimes parents use it as their time away from everything, but more often than not, if it's an adult, it's probably a little bit older past the time of young children, let's say, because yeah, as we all know, young children take up a lot of our time. So um, I think that's mostly what we've been doing around Columbus.
Yes, that's fabulous, Julie. I can just hear the passion in your voice for the art side. You know, I was told at a very young age that I was to approaching music as a science and a what do you call it, robotic exercise, and that I really just didn't have a ear for or an art for it. But I can hear the passion in yours of, yeah, I probably have it. I just don't recognize what it is, and you can pull it out through one of those programs. And if I had started way back when, I might be able to do something with a musical instrument today. But listen, let's set the stage for the viewers. Your current business, what's the ownership structure? Are you the sole owner or are there outside investors?
I am 100% woman owned by me. It did start off as a sole proprietorship in my house. Yeah, I figured all this business stuff out along the way. I didn't realize it was going to be that complicated. I just thought, oh, I'll just start teaching in my house. And um, then I was just using my personal bank account at first. And then I was like, well, I should get a separate bank account. So I'll go to the bank and ask for a business account. And they're like, do you have an EIN? I'm like, what's that? So I've gone through all the iterations. For anyone that's ever thinking about doing something, yep, you can do it. I promise. Um, my husband's uncle, it happened to be a lawyer that also was happy to draw up an LLC for us. So I didn't even have an LLC until 2018, even though I had started teaching in my house in 2014.
Mhm.
And so you can operate without an LLC, sole proprietorship and your social security number totally works. Um, we started filing with the LLC that following year, 2015, 2019. I mean, I've lost track of the dates now. And operated as a sole member LLC for many years until 2024. That's when I elected an S Corp. Um, just for the way the business was structured. We had so many contractors and a few employees back then too. We now have all employees.
Mhm.
Um, it was weird to operate as a sole member LLC with just the way the structure was at the time. So operated for a S corp under that, um, and that's where we are today.
Super. So in today's operation, you've clearly grown from a one woman operation to three locations and a number of people. And you did mention they are all employees. They're not contractors, right?
Yes.
Fabulous, fabulous. So when you look at your role today, how would you break down percentage-wise the time that you're working in the business, whether it's teaching specific classes or running the business versus your vision for the future, the strategic planning and the business strategies? How would you break that down? What would be your percentage?
Um, as a small business owner and entrepreneur and founder, I would say that you probably stay working in the business longer than you should, for most of your time. And it's still at that stage where we might lose an employee and I have to step in
Mhm,
and cover until we have a replacement. Sometimes it's a few weeks, sometimes it's a few months. Um, I do try to take a few hours a week at least. Sometimes I can get a few hours a day of kind of looking at the big picture of financials and
mhm,
strategizing. But I will say that I probably work, um, it's funny because like during my work hours, I might be mostly probably more than 50% still working in the business. But then on my outside hours, I'm strategizing when I'm not actually at work. I know I need to work
mhm,
on that. I know I need to work on that, like actually turn my brain off from that and like enjoy the rest of life. That's I'm aware. But I will the idea for the piano keys curriculum came from my kids being at Goldfish Swim.
mhm,
I'm looking at that and I'm like, that this model, how do I do it with piano, but also make sure it's quality?
mhm,
Because piano is like a language and and fine motor skills and just all the extra things above swimming. Yes, it's important, but you can study piano for a lifetime and still not know everything. And that was one of those things that I was just there on a Saturday morning, and for weeks and weeks and weeks, I'm taking my kids there. And then I stumbled upon this other program 2 years ago, and I'm like watching it and researching it and thinking about it. And then I finally have the last piece in the puzzle. It's like this program we should have at our school because it meets all the criteria I need. That is a group program that is quality and not there's so many opportunities for if you don't have the right teacher, if you're just trying to do a custom group program, it could go south, uh, or they just don't learn anything, or the kids are running around like, you know. So that's one example of just I'm I'm on my off hour, so to speak, and
mhm.
strategizing on that. And here I am now in going into 2026 with the plan of the third location having that similar type model that Goldfish Swim has. Because Goldfish Swim, there's only 4 kids in a class and they move out whenever they're ready up to the next level. And that was the piece I was missing because otherwise a group class you have to register them in the fall for 12 weeks. If they pass that level, they go to the next level. If they don't, they do that level again, right? That's kind of like the model for group class. But with all the different learning styles and playing an instrument, right? It's going to make different sounds. It's hard to play it all together. I was like, how in the world do we follow the model that Goldfish Swim has where they can move in and out as they're ready? Making it easier for bookings clients as well, because that's why
Mhm.
private lessons are easy to book because they contact you whenever they feel like it and you find a spot for them. So, yeah, I spend um, less than I should on strategizing during my work day, but then the rest of my time is strategizing.
Well, good, good, good. You know that I will have to share back with you if I can from all of the years that I've been coaching is if you're not looking to where you want to be, Mother Nature and Murphy will put you where they want you to be.
Yeah.
So, and you know, that kind of brings me to the next section here, which you have all of these wonderful programs. And again, I'm a musical Neanderthal, but I can hear the purpose and the joy of each of these different programs. And I know that you don't want to be the best kept secret. So when it comes to marketing, what marketing is really working for you right now, and what could it be? Where's your greatest opportunity for growth?
That's a good question. I started off with just myself marketing. When I first started, I was just going all over the internet and posting just listings for our business on whatever, I don't know where I was, but any old page, Yelp, Yellow Pages, wherever. Um, and then, I mean, that was 10 years ago. The technology wasn't even that advanced back then. But
Mhm.
then I taught myself how to build our website, took a class on SEO, took a class on social media, and did all that myself. The fall of 23, Google changed their algorithm and things weren't picking up like normal. And things were more competitive by then because COVID, there was not a lot of choices when we first opened. So we kind of had an advantage. Um, so during COVID, we basically went off of word of mouth, and because nothing else was open, it was easy to find us. Um, but as things got competitive, we had to get more competitive. And so I actually, in a business class through the WSBA, Women's Small Business Accelerator, I met the
Mhm.
owner of Emerald Content, and we decided to partner around um, November, December of 23 with just couple landing pages or blog posts to
Mhm.
optimize. Because the thing is, I can teach myself how to build a website and I can teach myself about SEO, but then a year later, SEO changes. So you do have to have somebody constantly watching that. And by that point, I had two locations, and I was looking for towards the third. And I thought, well, I'm going to have to get started with somebody to keep me on going. Um, so they do now our social media and our SEO on our website. We still update our website in-house, and I've sent a couple of my employees to Emily Journey to do training through Ohio Tech Cred. Just
Mhm.
I've made training videos too, but um, the time it takes to make an organized training video is not the time that I have as a founder and a CEO owner with all the other things I was doing. So I did try giving some of my employees some random folders of craziness. I'm like, here, figure this out. But they thankfully we got in touch with Ohio Tech Cred and Emily Journey to get that trained. So most of our marketing is done through Emerald content with social and
Okay.
SEO. We do have a partnership with Northwest City Lifestyle magazine. Lisa Federico is amazing. We have an ad in her magazine, but then as part of it, our partnership, she does a lot of social media posts for us too, and does a lot of business introductions. Maybe she should be like a PR person. I don't know, because she does a lot. It's really incredible. Um, we had toyed with Google Ads and Meta Ads last year, but decided not to bring those back. They're very costly for a small business. You can't even make a dent without $500 a month on one thing. And with AI assistance, they're not really looking at Google Ads. They're not looking at paid ads. They're looking at SEO and social media. So we're just focused on our social and SEO. And the other thing is there's still something needed around word of mouth, which is what I had in my when I opened my first location, that brand awareness, right? So that's the one thing that we have been focusing on for Worthington this year. We've partnered with Worthington Candleworks to work their booth at the farmers markets so that we can basically staff that for them. They don't have to staff it,
Mhm.
but then also we
Mhm.
can advertise for both of us. So it's a wonderful partnership. I really appreciate them so much. And there's a wonderful, I think, two women partnership there that own it. And I know that they're working so hard because I've been there when you first start. So I'm glad that it works out really well for us. And we got a lot of interested people to contact for any of our programs through
Mhm.
doing that. So I think that kind of hits the 3 points, the print, the word of mouth or in person, and digital.
Absolutely. And I want to emphasize something that you said in today's world, you can go online and study about AI. It's the biggest thing. And there's some people that are saying because AI is around that Google is dead. Google is not dead. Where do you think AI goes to find all of its answers? It goes to Google. But you're correct. Currently, because of the Autobots and the algorithms behind, they don't refer to your paid ads. They do refer to your organic. And understanding that, there's going to be certain generations that still go to Google when they say, I want to learn to play this instrument. There's going to be other people that are going to be going to chat and saying, who are the best instructors for this instrument in my location? And again, if you don't want to be the best kept secret, that's the focus and the goal of where you get the word out. And
Mhm.
so fabulous. I just wanted to make sure you were on the right track. I wanted to make sure the audience captured what you just said because that was brilliant.
I mean,
Let, let's
I hate to put those Google Ads agents out of business, but
you know what? Times change, okay? It's like
yeah,
the old 8-track tape. It serves its purpose, and there's still going to be people that are going to see that and react to it. Times are changing. And
yeah,
so the timing of that continuing to be something that will give you a return on investment of your marketing focus is slow. So, but
yeah.
let's take that. That's rear view mirror type of look. Let's fast forward now and look at what's to come in the future. Where do you see your business 3 to 5 years from now? You said you've grown. You just opened up location number three. If you had a, a if you had control of your future, where would you be, and what would Julie Chambers look like in 5 years?
I know they always say you think you can do more in 1 year than you can, and you can do way more in 3 to 5 years than you ever think you can. And so they always say that you throw out some huge goal, big, hairy, audacious goal to guide you to 5 years. And I I have a couple goals in that realm, and I'm probably still being too cautious, but the I've learned from three that you can't operate the way you did with one or two. As a the founders are the hustlers that can really outwork anyone, and you can't keep it up when you have three. Plus, it's like a bunch of spinning plates, and like um one is always down, and sometimes three are down at the same time. So a key piece to our future strategy is more school partnerships. um I'd like, we have four right now. I'd like 10 by next year. So in 3 to 5 years, that could be
Okay.
a lot. That could be 30 schools that we partner with. Um, we have three schools, but I learned the hard way that I didn't have systems in place for all of the procedures because I was trying to outwork everyone. So our biggest goal for the next 2 years at least is systems, all the systems we can. And honestly, that's a goal for our lifetime because you have to always
Mhm.
update the systems. Every time you have a system done, you have to redo it. So that's the rest of our lives, systems. Um, Financial security is a huge one for us right now, just making sure that we're and that's slightly due to the change in um, LLC to S corp.
Mhm.
Um, when you get to a certain size, you have to have a good amount of money saved in the bank for a rainy day. But if you have it as a sole member LLC, you're paying 15% income tax on something that you would just be leaving in the business. So um, now that we're an S corp, I can strategize how to actually save money so that we don't suddenly run out of cash in a tight time. I In 3 to 5 years we'd have our summer camps filled out. We've just gotten our feet wet with the summer camps. We have a summer camp coordinator now who's going to
Mhm.
really make sure that the curriculum's written, just every little detail, right? I was kind of doing it on the side as everything else. I didn't teach the camps at least, but I was doing all the little details on the
Mhm.
side. Like I can do that, sure, but when? Um So the last 2 years they were small, and the thing is, the programs were very high quality, but
Mhm.
we didn't get the word out in the right way, the right message, the right time. Um, so having her just keeping everything on track and with the timeline, we'll be able to get that out this year, and I think within 5 years we'll probably be selling out our camps. Um, I've always
Fabulous.
wanted 5 locations, but 3 is kind of where I'm at right now. It's hard to imagine 5 because I wouldn't be able to keep up with it. So we'll see if if that one is actually an attainable goal. I did set up EOS last April. We are self-implementing, which means we're probably doing half of it wrong, but it's still a lot better than it was. And there's an amazing leadership team that is incredibly helpful with um, solving all the problems. We have an L10 meeting every Tuesday and we solve all the problems. Um, and they manage the staff because I was managing 30 of them by myself. So
Mhm.
that frees up a lot more time for me to even have bandwidth to strategize and plan. Um, one of the things lacking is we have not all met for a full day yet to do a full large strategic plan that hasn't been implemented. We're still kind of getting them in their roles.
Mhm.
So that's
You, Julie, you mentioned EOS, and in listening to your story, you have moved up the entrepreneurial ladder. You started out self-employed, then you brought on people, you became the manager. Now you're at this next level of being the director because you've got multiple locations. And every time you do that, your own leadership style grows and changes. And 3 locations, guess what? You're learning that director needs to grow to become the owner. And
mhm,
instead of you being the only one that finds the problems, finds the solutions, and then dictates or controls the team in fixing the solutions, you're at a point where, boy, it sure would be nice if someone else would come to me with the problem and a potential solution. So all I had to
right,
do was choose. And
yeah.
that's that next level of business ownership, of building something that will work without you. Let's talk about that though. You've grown and just in sharing your story here, your leadership style has changed. I can hear that in your voice. How would you describe your current leadership style today?
Mm, interesting. Um, Starting off, I would say I was just trying to do as much as possible, and
Mhm.
it turned into a uh, almost like a panic energy that what because I was just trying to get everything done as fast as humanly possible. Um, and so at some point, trying to operate that way can create more stress for the people that are working for you because you're going so fast and it like looks like you're frantic. So the biggest thing for me now, just having those other leaders with me, is being able to be calm and thoughtful and just sit back and listen to what other people have to say instead of just frantically trying to like answer and solve all the time. Um, I'm also really working on coaching them, asking the right type of guided questions to try to get their brains thinking. I still don't do it as much as I should. Sometimes I still just jump in like, let's do this solution. Um, I the problem also being is I've been in the business for so long. I know like every little in and out, And so a lot of times I'll come up with the a solution faster than anyone else. So I am working on having them do that. It's interesting letting go of that. That's one of those I don't know why. I don't know why that's interesting letting it go. it's, do other people care about my baby as much as me? That's a question, but I think they do. I've been really impressed with the team that we have right now, and I was really impressed with even recently the team requested a town hall to talk about stuff with the business, and in their like in I sent out a survey just in advance, like share some concerns anonymously, just so we kind of have an idea. And there were some comments on like we have where they said we have a stake in this. We want to know more about where things are, not every little detail, but um, that was enlightening to me. I hadn't had a whole lot of staff in the past
Mhm.
that had that thought process that they were a part of something. They just kind of, and it could be partially going from it contractors to employees too.
Mhm.
They just kind of showed up for their thing and left, and they were just kind of freelancers versus it does feel much more like a group of people in a community wanting to make it work and wanting to make a difference. So,
That's that is a huge, huge start. That's a good place to be when people are showing that interest, that skin in the game, and that loyalty to your vision of what you
mhm.
want. And with a few simple changes, few simple improvements, you could easily go from good to great. I've
Yep.
done that with other clients, and I'm seeing a path forward of what you could do too. There's two things that in working with a team, it's kind of, I actually got this from marriage counseling many, many, many years ago. It says, how many times do you go out on a date night? And date night's supposed to be celebrating all the good. And you get out on date night and everybody takes a deep breath and it's like, okay, now I have time. Let me talk to you about leaving your shoes and how you load the dishwasher. And date night all of a sudden becomes this business meeting.
Yeah.
Same thing with a business is you should have a communication that is focused on business, operations, problems. Imagine a football team. You got a problem, you call a timeout. You have a huddle before every single meeting to make sure, or every single play to make sure that they're getting a first down. And then every single Monday, they have the film reviews of how did we do and how do we need to prepare for the next team. And then in the off season, they start to look at strengths and weaknesses, health, and where they want to be in the future and what do they need. Well, that's the part that you're not quite there to, but you're still kind of playing whack-a-mole in the day to day as issues pop up and getting that all solved.
Yeah.
Those are all great opportunities for you to move from good to great and to having these things filled and actually becoming part of your vision of world peace through
Music.
music
Yeah.
education. That is just, I like the way you're saying that. I like the way you're seeing your vision. There's a piece in there, and this is something that I got introduced to when I started Action Coach, and that was 18 years ago. We have a ritual that's called a wiffle, and it stands for what I feel like expressing. And it's a whole process of when we get started and when we collect up for a meeting, we pretty much without any judgment are asking what's on everybody's mind. If you're coming in the morning and you've just been up all night with a sick child, you're probably going to bring a different level of energy to the meeting that we're going to be talking about things in the business than if you're on top of the world because your significant other just brought you the biggest bouquet of flowers in the world this morning. But understanding the emotions that people bring into the meeting help you as a leader guide that meeting that much better.
Yeah. I've been
Super.
doing those check-ins with my people. Um, Sometimes we start chatting about other things beforehand, but like, what's your rating? 1 to 10 on your
Mhm.
personal life, your health, your work, and sometimes it's interesting because some people will say things like a 9, even though they're like not that like they're struggling in some area, they'll just always say a 9 versus so I'm
Hmm.
like, if this person says a 7, this is serious. We gotta you that's what I found is interesting is that yeah, it's the pattern. It's by constantly meeting with them regularly and getting to know them. Like if this person is never gonna say a 10, like they're like at their top when they say 8 because they think, well, I still could get better. And so if they say a 5, then I'm like, oh man, you're in trouble. Let's figure this out. Um,
That
so it's a definitely a wonderful tool for that. And we still just started the one-on-one check-ins with the managers and their people sometime this month. I know it's been interesting for them to figure out a time for that, just because everyone's hectic schedule when we work we're have open 7 days a week and different locations. So people work 2 days each location and all the different. It's I know it's harder than kind of a standard Monday through Friday 9 to 5 type job to find those times. So hopefully they go well, but
Julie, let me okay, so first of all, get rid of the hopium. If I can coach you, nothing works on hopium.
oh,
Okay?
hopium.
Hopium, yes. You got it?
We have to just say it will work. Yeah.
Well, the other side is no, it's a bigger challenge than that. People do what they value.
Hmm.
Your job as the business leader and the business owner is to get them excited about that meeting, that meeting is going to be a important part of their day, and that meeting will amplify the rest of the day.
Yeah.
That's a huge challenge from a leadership standpoint. And sometimes, you've
Yeah.
overcome that challenge in some of the programs that you've already shared with me this time and last time. So you know how to do that. Maybe we should look together on how do we make that happen for your teachers. Because again, yes, we live in a world where everything is important, but we also, as human beings, we have two different actions. Okay. If we have things to do, we put them on a to-do list. And there's nothing that says we have to scratch something off in order to put it on the to-do list. The to-do list can grow to hundreds of pages, and it's just there as an external memory. But the minute we put something on our calendar, and something else comes up, we defend that. Ooh, wait a second. Let me look at my calendar.
Have this
And
done.
then you do a mini evaluation. Is what's on my calendar more important than this opportunity? And it's the same thing with your team and your meeting. When you and that meeting become so important to them internally, now you got them. Now they are absolute championship level people.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah.
a food for thought there. I saw you write it down. I'm glad.
I did. Excited about it is a good way to think about that for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Because it can sound kind of like an extra item thing, another chore. I know there's two guys that are just like, can I just do my job and not deal with this stuff? But
exactly.
it's important because that's also another way to stay connected with each other and prevent miscommunication, really. Um, if you have questions, great. You're not going to necessarily remember to ask unless someone's asking, do you have
That's
questions?
right. Super. Well, listen, we have certainly covered a lot of ground today in our conversation. And for those of you watching, I highly encourage you to save this, come back a few times and watch it again, because Julie has really given us some wonderful, great nuggets on working with her people and the creativity and the vision of, I think she's being a little humble on that 3 year to 5 year plan of wanting to
Yeah.
tap the brakes, because you've got a track record so far of growing from one woman operation to three different locations and multiple W-2 employees. I think you've got the momentum there. Getting the next step is just going to get a little easier. You know what? You just don't know what you don't know. And that's
Yeah.
the part that is a wonderful opportunity for you and for the music studios. So before we wrap this up, I want to go into a section I call a rapid fire questions. Just a series of questions where we want, what's the first thing that comes to mind? You ready for these, Julie?
We'll see.
Super.
I
Yeah,
should be
they're
excited
not.
about it, right? We are.
Yeah, there we go. No, we're not. These aren't going to hurt at all. Julie, what is your key to success?
Oh, I in the past I would say hard work and grit, but now I would say having the right people in your corner.
Super, super. What's one piece of advice that you would give to another business owner today?
Baby steps, but it is possible. So you may not launch a $1 million coaching business the day you leave your day job or even the year you leave your day job, but you definitely can get clients and earn an income. I'm just using coaching business as an
Mhm.
example. Honestly, because that is kind of a popular thing that a lot of people say they want to be a millionaire at. So yeah.
Super, super. Julie, what's a book that you're reading now or one that you would recommend to the audience?
Well, I am slowly reading Traction. That is like a few pages at a time kind of book. I also recently read through most of the Brené Brown library, which is The Gifts of Imperfection, Braving the Wilderness, all of the I don't remember all the titles. I just kept
Hmm.
reading all of the different ones. She's a shame researcher, which gives a lot of perspective on why people have why people kind of do some of the things that they do, why we do some of the things we do.
Hmm.
And Braving the Wilderness is kind of about recognizing those and not being afraid to be in that slight place of uncomfortableness for what's better instead of hiding
I
ourselves.
I once had a mentor that said, you know, it's a good decision when you have a pinch of fear and a dash of anxiety
Yeah.
and excitement.
Oh,
When you put those three together, you have a good recipe. So a little bit of fear, a little bit of excitement, and you know, if you are willing and able to just jump in and say, let's make this recipe, that's usually a good example of a right decision. So let me ask you, Julie, one more question here before we get to the final one, and that is, if there was an area of your business that you could immediately improve, and tomorrow morning, abracadabra, it would be exactly what you want it to be, what would that area be?
whew. Um, wow. I will say the third location has been difficult just getting that off to grow.
Hmm.
So the financial stability is not where I want it to be. So that would
Hmm.
probably be if Abracadabra, uh, our P&L was what I wanted it to be, that would be great. Money in the bank and
Yes.
constant positive net cash flow and all of those things. That's probably the biggest one, the biggest problem right now because we do have some amazing people already, and
Hmm.
we have an amazing operations director that's constantly updating our like policies and procedures. So
Super.
yeah.
Super. Well, listen, before we get to the final question, I do want to give you the opportunity. If there is someone in the audience watching this today that wants to get in touch with you to be your next best student in your one of your programs, or is interested in what you have said about running your business, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Sure, we do have a website, chambersmusicstudio.com. We have multiple social media accounts too. Chambers Music Studio, Chambers Music Studio Columbus, and Chambers Music Studio Worthington. Those are on Instagram and Facebook. We also are on LinkedIn, and we do have an email, info@chambersmusicstudio.com, and a phone number you could call or text 614-525-0254. Now, we actually have people answering the phone, and it's like one. or two people. So our hours are limited to when we're open, which
Mhm.
I know is weird in this day and age. People think it's just some giant call center or something. So they don't always necessarily leave a message with a voicemail, or um, they think that they're just talking to a stranger. So you will see that same person when you walk into your lesson that you talked to.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Super. So here's the last question for the day, Julie. What do you find most inspiring?
Hmm. I I get really excited about doing more things to help people. It's kind of weird. I maybe but I went to Nabo this morning and I met two women that are co-founders of a nonprofit that helps women kind of like in workforce development around that 14
Mhm.
to 20-year-old. And I was like, "Oh, we should do this." Like I was excited about whatever what type a future partnership. um maybe we send lessons, music teachers there, and we have lessons. It could become an apprenticeship program where we teach
Mhm.
future people, women, to be music teachers or musicians. Like I guess I get excited by ideas and the potential to do good in the world.
Mhm.
And then unfortunately, I pull myself back like, well, I got I'll be like, well, I can't do all that yet. Let's just get I gotta sometimes slow myself down, but it's also because I'm kind of plate full still. I haven't fully pulled back to be able to do those big ideas as much.
That thank you for sharing that. That is that shows your level of energy and the fact that you are dedicated to working to figure out how do you bring that energy into the reality of world.
Yeah.
You can't fix or drive the boat where you want to go if it's leaking. We got to fix the boat first and then drive it. So
Yeah.
I love that priority, and I absolutely love the passion that you have shared with us today. Julie, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing that journey that you're on. And thank you to the audience for watching. Again, if you were inspired by this, please go back and listen to it again. Folks, make it a great day and bye for now.